Hey friends, Mike and Jess here.
And welcome to Regeneration Nation TV. Today we are reacting to the most feared and legendary referee of all time, Pierluigi Collina. Forgive me if I did not say that correctly, but this is awesome. We're going to see the point of view from a referee this time, not somebody playing on the field. So this is going to be cool.
One of the most requested videos from our The Beauty of Football reaction that we did. This comes from Daily Dose of Football. So go check their channel out. Go check this video out. We've got links in the description, in the pinned comment. Go support them. Added a like, and I already subscribed myself.
Cha-ching.
So join me. And yeah, let's get into this video.
Let's do it.
To become a legend inside those 4 white lines is no easy task. Most had to fight for the ball because that's where the spotlight shines. Defenders had to perform thousands of clean tackles, keepers dozens of unimaginable saves, strikers had to provide a never-ending supply of goals. But there was one man who became a legend and one of the most recognizable faces in the sport without ever touching the ball. Today we're gonna find out how exactly one becomes the most feared, the most respected, and by far the most legendary referee in the world, even making the cover of Pro Evolution Soccer. How one becomes Pierluigi Collina.
That's crazy.
Watching Collina go about his job was as impressive as watching any other superstars he shared the pitch with. It wasn't just that he seemed to never get a decision wrong. With the sight of a falcon and cold-headed as they got, it was the way he handled the players. He was capable of telling off anyone, even a maniac like Oliver Kahn, bow down.
Once you see him, he is incredibly intimidating. Like it's something in his eyes. Like when he's smiling right now,
he's got a nice, genuine smile.
Yeah, he's got a really good smile.
When he's angry,
but
it's scary.
When he's looking at you, like that's intimidating. He's already intimidating.
Yeah.
Was capable of telling off anyone, even a maniac like Oliver Kahn, bow down to him like a newborn puppy being reprimanded for munching down on your favorite pair of slippers. But in fact, over time he didn't even need to do any of that. So much was the respect for him that the players already knew not to mess around when he was watching. After all, with that deep blue stare aimed right at you, it's hard not to feel intimidated.
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong, Collina wasn't just a mindless tough guy of any sort. He was a diplomat. The players loved to chat around with him, and on the toughest of moments, he was even capable of showing off his more tender side, helping out the players whenever they needed. He really was the best of both worlds. But how did he get there? As you might imagine, Collina wasn't actively looking for this job. Despite his passion for basketball, just like many other referees, he was trying to make it as a football player first. But Collina was realistic. He knew that the chances were slim, especially as he never found himself to be the most talented. At first, he just made sure to cover his bases, continually working hard in school, where he actually got taught by nuns. And then, he even took a step back. Quite literally, actually. He began playing as a center back, as he found he had the best chances of making it in that position, since not many kids are willing to play there, and it requires a different set of skills. But have you ever asked yourself what team a referee supports, or if they're even allowed to? Well, as a teenager, Collina followed 2 teams, whoever Walter Zenga played for, and Lazio. Though at first he was a Bologna fan, as he grew up he fell in love with a team known as the Lazio Pistols, which demands a quick intermission. You see, this team was as scary as it gets. No wonder Collina loved them so much. Let me give you a quick summary. So, pretty much 2 main figures of the dressing room get into an argument and things get so bad that the team was divided into 2 factions, depending on which player they sided with. They grew apart so much that they even had different locker rooms. The tensions began rising so fast that players began carrying pistols everywhere to protect themselves from the other players. They were pretty much like a gang. You heard that 100% right. The crazy thing is that when it came to the actual matches, they blended seamlessly and displayed some great football, even going on to somehow win the league for the first time in the history of the club. Despite the fact that back in the locker room, players were literally threatening each other's lives with broken glass bottles. This is easily one of the craziest stories I've ever heard. Comment down below if you think I should make a video on it.
I was gonna say I would like to watch a whole video on that story.
That is incredible.
Like, what video are we watching now? But he had to add context to whatever he's about to talk about.
Yeah,
so,
what?
Yeah,
okay, so
nuts.
I just getting his personality right here. He just reminds me of people that are close to me. But I think this is what makes you legendary, is when you can be tough, thick-skinned, not have a dog in the fight. Like, you can be neutral. Like, this is what a referee needs to be. You can have your favorite team, obviously, outside of doing your job.
You have
but
to call it down
once you start,
middle.
once you start like refereeing for two different teams, you can't be on one side because you're going to be favoritism, you're going to have bad calls. But when you can be neutral and you can see it for what it is on the outside, and you can actually be informed and know what you're doing and know how strategic your job is and what you need to be looking out for, that's what makes you a legend. And not only that, you can be tough, but you can still have compassion and empathy. I think that's what makes you a great person in anything that you do, not just being a ref, but like everything. Like, I just
still think it's so crazy that he ended up as the front cover of one of the games. Like,
yeah, that's so cool.
I'm into UFC, and it's always like who's going to be the next person on the front cover.
Yeah.
And it's usually the fighters who are doing really well.
Yeah.
It would be very crazy to see Herb Dean up on the cover of
but
UFC.
he would be
like,
he would be my choice. I feel like Herb Dean is like one of those guys. Like,
that would be nuts. It's like, wait, why is Herb Dean on the cover? What the heck?
He's a legend.
I like Herb and everything, but I don't think that he's garnered that level of
You're right. Yeah.
notoriety.
Yeah.
In the game to be on the front cover over the fighters. So the fact that he was on the front cover
that's
over
extraordinary.
the players,
Yep.
that just speaks to what a legend he must have been.
Yeah.
Craziest stories I've ever heard. Comment down below if you think I should make a video on it. But yeah,
Yes.
back to Collina. Despite his known passion for Lazio, he has made sure to say in an interview that it never influenced his decisions, so much so that Lazio never won in the first 10 of their matches he officiated. At 17 years of age, things were not looking very promising when it came to his footballing career, and that's when an interesting offer arose. It was suggested to him that maybe he should take part in a refereeing course, and very quickly everyone was surprised at his natural talent. Collina already displayed every bit of the charisma he has gotten us used to. Over the next few years, his life was a mess. Imagine the stress he must have gone through. Collina was 20 when he finally got to officiate his first few regional matches, but meanwhile, he was also completing his degree in economics and completing his mandatory military service, which further developed his sense of authority and discipline. After all, growing up with a mother who was a teacher, a dad who worked in the Ministry of Defense, and being taught by nuns in primary school wasn't enough, right? Among all of this, he rapidly got promoted to the Italian 3rd Division. It was impressive how fast he was progressing in his career. Everyone admired him already, but then he had to go through one of the toughest moments in his life. As he was about to finish his service, Collina developed a form of alopecia, and after only 10 days, he had lost every bit of air in his body. To make matters worse, this came about around the same time the Italian Federation planned to move him up to Serie A and Serie B. There was some worry that the disease would affect his confidence and that he wouldn't be able to perform as he used to, but Collina is different. If it affected his self-esteem in any way, he surely made it so no one would be aware. To the audience, especially looking back now, he seemed like a Dragon Ball character who had just reached his final form. Standing at 6'2", Collina was as imposing as most center-backs, but now bald, it seemed his deep blue eyes were more piercing than ever, and his new look also earned him his nickname Kojak, like the bald detective from the TV show of the same name, which, given his love for pistol-whipping footballers, I'm sure Collina appreciated. 4 years later, in 1995, after having refereed only 43 top-flight matches in Italy, Collina was put on FIFA's referees list. Once again, the rapid pace at which he progressed through his career was frightening. It was like the Erling Haaland of referees. Even more impressively, he was immediately allocated to 5 matches in the 1966 Olympics, including the final between Nigeria and Argentina, an absolute classic of African football where Okocha and Kanu led their team as they went behind twice and still managed to win it on injury time. Following this, Collina took part in the 1998 World Cup where, despite not getting to officiate the final, he left a mark, sending off Kluivert in a heated group stage match against Belgium. If that time he didn't get to be in the final, the next year it was a whole different story. After numerous great performances in the Champions League, and after being awarded the IFFHS Referee of the Year award in 1998, Collina was selected for the 1999 UCL final, only 4 years after his first call-up by FIFA. What was the secret of his success? Well, besides his demeanor, he was also fluent in different languages, being able to communicate with any player with ease, which allowed them to more easily empathize with them. But above all, what set him apart was his preparation for the matches. He took it all a step further. He would study the formations and styles of play, assessing which players were most likely to clash during the game. He gathered information on which players are most likely to fake injuries, dive, or get physical with others. His
That's
philosophy
awesome.
is that a referee can't be caught off guard. You have to know when and how the players will act before they do. It was with this philosophy that he helped UEFA reduce the number of yellow cards shown in their tournaments. In a way, he set the foundation for modern refereeing.
Yes,
But back to
he's
the
like hitting
1999
all the
UCL.
marks. He literally has, like, he's preparing himself in every single way. That is so legendary
Yeah,
to
he
me.
took his job very seriously. Like, you
Yeah.
might, on the outside looking in, you know, for me, first of all, this video, seeing so much passion from the fans,
Yeah.
makes me a little jealous because I've never been tied to a sport like that. You know, I've never had that much. I've never been connected to that level to where I would be that upset, win or loss. And I wish I would have. I wish I would have grown up a little bit closer
Yeah.
to a sport, anything like that, to where you
have that
passion for it, win or lose for your team. But you might, like, from the outside looking in, for me, because I don't have that level of connection, you know, it feels like there's a lot more preparation that goes in on the player side versus the referee side. But he was like, you know what? I don't care that I'm the referee. I'm going to still prepare to the same level, the maximum level that I possibly can, and take it as serious as I possibly can. And that's pretty respectable.
And
that's very respectable.
Yeah, like everybody in their life, like you say this to me all the time. Like, I've been in Texas Roadhouse for so long that I feel like I could do it with my eyes closed, but there's always places that I could be growing and learning. And the more and more that you educate yourself on something else that you didn't know about, even if you don't think that you need it, just preparing yourself for those things, it helps you grow as a person. And I feel like that's what makes you, I can't stop saying legendary. I feel like that's such a perfect word, because this is how I grew up for the last 10, 12 years. Is I work for a company that's their main motto is legendary food, legendary service. Like, everything you do is legendary. And I feel like preparing yourself for these moments, not to be caught off guard, being educated, and when these things happen, like even studying the players that you think are gonna fall down and fake an injury, like that's so amazing to me. I wouldn't even think like that, but that's what makes you like prepared, and that's what does give you that success. Like, that's why he's so successful. Like,
Yeah, it's crazy
that's amazing
to see him in so many commercials through these clips.
Yeah.
Final. This match left a mark on everyone, easily one of the most dramatic UCL finals of all time. Bayern faced United, and 5 minutes in, Bayern were in front. The lead lasted all the way to injury time, but then, somehow, United struck twice in quick succession, snatching the trophy from Bayern when they were convinced it was already theirs. If the cheers from United players were what marked most people, Collina had to deal with both sides of the match. As he told it himself, the United players were running like madmen all over the pitch, but then I turned around and found that most Bayern players were crying and laying down on the floor, hopeless. I saw Samuel Kufur completely distraught. I went up to him and I couldn't think of what to say besides, get up and keep fighting. There's still 20 seconds left on the clock. Football is a cruel sport. Its unpredictability makes it seem like at times it takes away what was already yours. Kufur feels exactly that way. After all these years, he still tells the press that he hasn't looked at any of the footage from that game, saying, "It still hurts to think of it. I have to let it go, but it's still haunting me to this day."
Wow.
On the other hand, Collina had to walk through what seemed like a battlefield, picking up the ones left wounded. No player was left unfazed. Even the Great Khan, though one of the few left standing, was found with a stare of someone wishing to go back in time. Collina would recall this moment saying, "That day, I saw the true face of football, where all players give their lives for it, but only half get rewarded with people shouting their names in joy, and the rest lay down, hurting to their core." That's really dark. Over the next 3 years, Collina took part in the Euro 2000 and was bound to take center stage at the 2002 World Cup. Along the way, he grew more and more in notoriety and racked up 3 more awards for
My
IFFHS Referee of the Year. At the World Cup, he officiated 3 matches, 2 of them being purposely picked for him due to the difficulty involved. The first of which was England versus Argentina. Ever since 1986, with Maradona scoring the infamous End of God during the Falklands War between both countries, relationships had been tense. And it only got worse as in the previous World Cup the deciding moment came, with David Beckham sending off after a foul on Diego Simeone. If once the fans' anger was directed at each other, a share of it was now for the referee, but Collina was having none of it, and finally the match went by smoothly, with England taking the win and sending Argentina out of the tournament. The second of those matches was of course the final between Brazil and Germany, but first, some background. Collina had an odd relationship with Oliver Kahn. Having to order around a man like their Titan wasn't easy, especially when he lost, so the fact that Collina managed to maintain a relationship with him that was based on the utmost respect for his authority became even more impressive when it started being noticed that Kahn would always lose whenever Collina officiated his matches. From the UCL final to the Euros and even a 5-1 demolition by England in the qualifying stages, the link had been settled, and Kahn was aware of it. Before the match he was asked about Collina and famously said, "He is a world-class referee, there is no doubt about that, but does he bring me any luck? Clearly not." And this time it wouldn't be any different. 2 goals by Ronaldo in quick succession would send Kahn home without any silverware. As Collina kept crossing off every big game from his bucket list, the next one in line was the UEFA Cup final. This was easily the big game he influenced the most, having to show Fabian Barthez a red card and giving away a penalty right before halftime, opening the way for Valencia's eventual 2-1 win. Over the summer he took part in the Euros yet again, but didn't get awarded with a chance to officiate the final, and with FIFA's referee age limit coming the following year, it was destined to never cross the Euro final from his lists. But then came a moment that proved just how legendary it truly was. So much was his popularity that the Italian Federation raised their own age limit to allow for Collina to keep on officiating for an extra year. However, it all came crashing down soon, in an unfortunate manner. Collina had signed a sponsorship deal with Opel, and given they were also the sponsors of AC Milan, the whole thing was seen as a conflict of interest, and the Federation decided he wasn't allowed to referee any top-flight matches as long as this deal was still on. So, Collina filed in his resignation letter, and then the Federation tried rejecting it, but what could they do? Collina just pretended like nothing happened and carried on with his retirement, which might be the biggest power move ever. But his coolest moment was yet to come. In 2006, he still managed to make headlines for his integrity. The biggest scandal in Italian football history came to light, known as the Calciopoli scandal, where referees were paid to fix matches for all sorts of reasons. At the center of the whole thing was a man named Luciano Moggi, who, by the way, definitely deserves a video as well. This man nearly destroyed the Serie A with his schemes. What do you guys think? Should I do it?
Yeah.
I want to know more.
First of all, I've enjoyed this person, the narrator of
Yeah.
this video very much. He breaks things down in a very easy to understand way. He has a tough accent at times to understand. Every time that I've had even the slightest difficulty, the words show up on screen.
Yeah.
So he understands.
He knows,
He
yeah.
already understands. So this has been a great video. So
Yeah.
I would probably watch any video he made.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah.
His calls leaked, damn near every referee in the league could be heard taking bribes and favors from him. But guess who stood his ground, rejecting everything they threw at him no matter the amount? Pierluigi Collina. This incredible man was always picked to referee the biggest matches in the league, and he still remained honest through all this corruption, which infuriated Moggi, so much so that he could be heard in a call saying that he was going to punish Collina for his decisions against Juventus. I think we all know what that means. But of course, this absolute madman stayed completely unfazed and kept on being 100% unbiased. If only they were all like Collina. After all, he is a 6-time IFFHS Referee of the Year winner, 2 times more than anyone else, a member of the Italian Football Hall of Fame, and to this day, the only referee ever to swap a shirt with a player, being handed David Beckham's number 7 shirt at the request of Sir Alex Ferguson. So yeah, this was Pierluigi Collina's career in a video. If you enjoyed, please like the video. It takes 1 second and makes me so happy. I'll see you next week. Bye.
That was like a way more incredible video than I thought we were gonna get into.
I wasn't prepared for it, but I just fell in love with him. Like, he has integrity as well. Like, they drove that home at the end, which is so awesome. Like, people make mistakes. We all do silly things and we make wrong decisions, but when you have a goal in mind and you're passionate about something, you don't want to do anything that jeopardizes it. Even in the moment, what you're doing affects your future self. And I feel like that's what he was thinking about the whole time. It's when you're level-headed, you're present in the moment, and you're like, no, I'm not going to do this crazy thing. I don't care what it means.
Yeah.
Like, it's really hard to make that decision too, because once you have somebody with a lot of power that's against you and is like, hey, this is going to happen to you if you don't say yes to me, like, to make that decision to do it anyway and push through it, it makes you more powerful of a human being, and you deserve more respect at the end of it all when you go back and you were the only person that didn't go along with everybody else, which is so awesome. Like, wow.
Yeah, there's so many different things that I can point to in this video that just surprised me, man. The fact, like, all those commercial clips. Is there any other referee? I don't know. I'm genuinely asking. Is there any other referee that's gotten that type of spotlight from being a referee?
Yeah, I don't know if any.
He has this iconic look.
Yeah.
And the demeanor that he has when he's officiating. And just the respect that he's garnered. Like, this comment says, the fact that a referee gets his own episode, that it doesn't feel out of place, and that we all clicked, is a testament to the legend of this man.
Yes. I just got chill bumps up and down my leg. And the way that he smiles, you can tell he's a genuine person. Like, yeah, he is.
The bald head, the eyes, the man, the respect of the whole world. Pierluigi Collina, the legend.
I love that. This is a wonderful video. It's a wonderful introduction to him, because I've never heard of him before, but I'm really happy that we got this requested to us, because
It's not every day that you get something like this recommended to you.
Yeah.
From our side. Usually it's recommend to the top plays, the top players, this moment in time that happened. But the referee is something rare that I never really, like, I didn't know what to expect going into this video, but I was very pleasantly surprised.
Me too. And like, you started talking about MMA too, and there's a lot of things in MMA with the judges, with certain refs. There's been a lot of scandals that have gone on throughout the years. You don't know what the truth is. I'm not going to talk on it like I know what I'm talking about, but there's been a lot of scandals where they go towards a certain person because they're getting paid off by certain people in order to make those plays, or there's people just, you know, saying that they're doing that. But it doesn't seem like there's anybody that did that with him. Like, they never questioned him and his loyalty. And I think that's awesome. I think that's what makes you good at what you do, is when nobody can question if you have integrity or if you don't. Like, what are you doing when nobody's looking and nobody's watching? And he seemed like he had that respect of people knowing that he's not going to do something like that, which is super awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. What a crazy story. There's a lot of stories in there that I would like to know more about.
Yeah.
But his story in particular, what a legend.
Yeah.
That was very cool to be introduced to him. So thank you to everybody who recommended that to us. Go show this channel some love. That was amazing. Daily Dose of Football. That was a great video.
Absolutely.
Very well done.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it very much. From an outsider, it was done very well, very easy to understand, and very easy to enjoy.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
Well done. All right, friends. What other videos like this do you have for us? Let us know down in the comments below what you thought of this reaction, and leave some suggestions down there for us, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye, friends.
Peace.
I'm not scared of your love, so show